What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the Thursday, right? It's Thursday, 11 a.m. stream. Glad you guys are here. Everybody that's here with me right from the start. We have some baseball to talk about. The ALCS, NLCS. It was, I guess, maybe tense for a little bit in some of these games, longer in others. There were some key moments, and I do want to start right at the very top because I want to address the thumbnail. The thumbnail being the situation with Valdez and the cheating potentially, that whole thing that came out. We're going to dive into that because I don't want people to think that I'm going to clickbait and I'm going to hold you here having to watch for like 20 minutes until I finally get to the actual story. But let's dive into that. Very first thing, let me update our headlines so that we know what we're talking about. Let me get this right. Again, welcome everybody for being here. Let me know what you think, what you thought about those games yesterday. I think these things essentially were decided yesterday, but let's get into this whole Valdez thing. So, yesterday, the story was that Valdez might have been cheating. And it came from the Red Sox broadcasting crew. I grabbed this picture because look at the side of his face. He's sweating intensely. All right? Intensely sweating. Now, why does that matter here? That matters because of what was said. And here's how it breaks down. The Boston Red Sox broadcast, they were the only ones that brought it up. But they brought up the fact that every time he gets a new baseball, he was touching his temple and was saying that he was cheating with that. Astro fans, anybody with me in the chat, anybody watching the replay, feel free to call out bullshit. Listen, Valdez has been good against the Red Sox all year. Last game one, was sort of a blip on the radar. I think Red Sox broadcasters very salty about how the game was just going for them, right? They loved how Chris Sale was performing. They did not like that Valdez was lights out, and that's what happened. So the Red Sox radio was talking about how Valdez was touching his temple, after getting a new ball every single time. Going to his neck, going to his cheek, all of that. Now, here's the good news, everybody. We got Gary Sheffield Jr. here to sort of set everybody straight. And his point was very legit. Dude was sweating. Sweat and rosin make a really sticky, get a good sticky grip on a baseball. And it is perfectly legal. It is allowed to do. It is not a big issue. So you've got a situation where Valdez was sweating. That's it. Now, the whole thing here, Red Sox broadcast crew, they wanted everybody, right? If you're not an Astros fan, you want to jump on the Astros for cheating. There was a light out in center field. There was a flashing light in center field. I don't have that. I'm not going to dive into that. But there was that last night. Any little thing that looks weird or looks off, the other team is going to jump. They're going to jump on it, and they're going to give them shit. So now this did not really spread that far. It sort of was a blip on Twitter. It was something that Fansided had. Trevor Bauer made the same point at the start of the Sticky Stuff scandal. Right. I mean, sweat and rosin, it's okay. But you had a situation where the Red Sox broadcasters were running with Valdez potentially cheating, and this is the story that was on Fansided. I don't have the actual audio from the Red Sox broadcast. I'm taking what Fansided reported and what they were getting from Will Fleming, pointing out that Valdez keeps touching his forehead every time he gets the ball. Red Sox broadcasters Will Fleming just forgetting that you can sweat, all right? You can sweat and you can touch the rosin and you can touch a baseball and it makes it a little stickier. Deal with it. It is not a big deal. But they were most certainly accused. Valdez was certainly accused of cheating last night, and that's sort of an Astros narrative as we kind of go. You've got a situation where other teams want to jump on the Astros for cheating. We're so obsessed with cheating right now that there's finger pointing everywhere. And the Astros last night, Valdez was great. We talked about it the other day, yesterday, before his start. We talked about Framber Valdez and how well he had pitched. It all stacked up for a good start for Valdez. That first game was sort of a blip, right? Valdez this year, 2-0 going into that playoff game, that first game. So 2-0 during the regular season against the Red Sox with a 1.26 ERA and 18 strikeouts. He dominated the Red Sox during the regular season. So it was not a surprise to see him come back and dominate this one. Again, love the activity in the chat. You guys keep it coming. Let me know what you think about this situation. I think Valdez pitched very well. I think Valdez was great. I don't think he was cheating. I think the Red Sox broadcasters were just a little salty that it wasn't going their way, and they knew this is a big game. Now they're down 3-2 going back to Houston. All Houston has to do is win one game. And the fact that they had looked like their pitching staff was in shambles doesn't matter anymore because they're one win away from going to the World Series. World Series doesn't start till Tuesday. They can get things back in line until then. You can have Garcia go. You can have Urquidy go. Maybe they pitch better. So this was just kind of a bad look from the Red Sox broadcasters all the way around. Let it be. You got guys in there. You got former players in there. You got broadcasters with 10, 20, 30, 40 years experience. Come on. Don't jump on the new narrative of everybody's cheating. So I didn't like that. I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to bring people in to hear my thoughts about that. That's why the thumbnail is what it is. But I did want to address the thumbnail right off the top. I do not believe he was cheating. Absolutely not. I think he was just getting some sweat off of his brow, mixing it with rosin, and it makes it stickier. Trevor Bauer had that video, right? That video where he was holding the ball like this and it was sticking to his hand. Listen, I'm not a Trevor Bauer fan, but what I'm saying is he had sweat, he had rosin, and he was able to basically hold the ball stuck to him. So that's that. Again, comment. Let me know what you think about the situation. VP Collectibles, easy to accuse him now. I don't think he cheated, but literally the entire baseball community hates him. Exactly. Any little hint of anything, it's easy to run on it. World Traveler, they're just salty. I think you're right. Dale Thompson, the Sox just stunk it up. And Jose, yes, he was getting checked. That's the other thing. He was getting checked. He's walking off the mound. He's got to give him the hat. He's got to give him the glove. He's got to show him the belt. He's got to, bend over and do an anal cavity. He's being checked. All right? It's no big... Sweat is allowed. Sweat is perfectly fine. We're allowed to sweat. Can't cut that off. So, again, the obsession with cheating, the obsession with the ball, it's there. It's something that has to be dealt with. Exactly. It does not matter. Definitely, there is no evidence. They had no evidence. It was just, again, they were upset about how the game was going because it was, for a while it looked pretty good. It looked really good for a while, right? Kind of looked like Chris Sale was having his day, a bounce back situation, but then it all fell apart in the sixth inning. And my question to you guys, who blew it? Who blew it more for the Red Sox last night? Was it Cora leaving Chris Sale in or Schwarber? This is the still from his moment when he just dropped the ball. An easy out, Michael Brantley not busting it up the line, catch the ball, and there is an out. Now, you'd still have Altuve on third. You don't know what happens from that moment on. So, who blew it for the Red Sox? Here's what I'll say about this, and we're going to take a look at what went through on it, what happened. But I'm on Cora here. I understand the offense didn't do much. But I'm kind of on Cora. You send him out there in the 6th inning. His pitch count was well into the danger zone. I mean, if it was a ship, the alarms, the radar would be going off that there's an iceberg ahead, because the batting average against, when his pitch count surpassed 50, is over 300. The batting average against the third time through the lineup is over 300. The second time through the lineup is over 300. So Cora had been ignoring what we had seen from Chris Sale all year long, and it finally caught up to them, where Chris Sale walks the first batter. Put yourself in trouble. You walk the first batter, you put yourself in trouble. Then the next guy comes up, should be an out. It wasn't an out. You still have Altuve on third at that situation. Let me get this out of the way. And you end up in a spot now where you got a runner on third, you got nobody out, and it doesn't go well from there. I think that listen, Schwarber's got to get the ball, but I also totally feel like you got to have awareness of the situation. I wouldn't let Chris Sale out there. I wouldn't let Chris Sale stay out there against it was Alvarez at that point. I wouldn't do any of that stuff. Let's go to the 6th inning. Went like this. Jose Altuve walks. Brantley reached on the error by Schwarber. Altuve was going to third, whether that ball was caught or not. I mean, Altuve's hustle to third. Listen, this gets back to Altuve. If Altuve doesn't draw a walk to start the inning, Schwarber probably catches the ball. The reason why Schwarber drops the ball is Altuve's busting around second. He's trying to make a quick catch and then throw to first to get Altuve from going to third. So Altuve forces that. Schwarber just doesn't drop the ball because he can't catch a baseball, because he's trying to catch that ball quick and throw it to third, because Altuve's hustling around to third base. So you end up with a situation where nobody's out. They have the mound visit. They leave him in there. They get Bregman out. Okay, that's good. If you want to go down the scenario, the butterfly effect scenario, that could have been the second out if they had gotten the out at first. But they didn't. And then Alvarez gets the double. That drives in Altuve and Brantley, because Brantley was on base. They take Sale out at that point, and it just snowballed. Correa struck out. That would have been the third out. Again, if you're following a butterfly effect and you feel like that Brantley out would have been an out, and then everything would have happened in the same sequence, which again, we don't know that. But we have a situation where Brazier comes in, strikes out Correa, and then just starts giving up hits. Single for Tucker, double for Gurriel, single for Siri, and then at that point it's 6-0 Houston, and the game is over. And again, this all begins, in my opinion, with Chris Sale being out there at the weak spot with the red alarm flashing. They left him out there. Schwarber's at first base. I'll say this: Schwarber's at first base because Bobby Dahlbeck's a mess. Bobby Dahlbeck cannot get it done. They're going with Schwarber with good reason. But and you gotta have Kike, you gotta have Hunter Renfroe. I mean, just the way they're set up, he's the first baseman, because they're not gonna sit Renfroe, not gonna sit Kike, and they need Verdugo out there. So those are your three outfielders. JD's your DH. It's the only place to put Schwarber. It gets back to maybe the Red Sox really should have been more aggressive on Anthony Rizzo. If Rizzo was over there at first base, if they made that move, if they didn't get Schwarber, they got Rizzo, that play doesn't happen. So a whole lot of what ifs, a whole lot of that, but the idea of if it was Cora or Schwarber that blew it, I put it more on Cora. I would have pulled Chris Sale. I would have tried to stay out of that situation. I would have had my best guy in to start the 6th inning and get Altuve out and not start the inning basically with the runner on. You put yourself in trouble when you give a free pass to start the inning, and that certainly bit them there. So that's the way I think. I don't put any of the blame on Chris Sale. Chris Sale is, you put your players in a position to succeed. You put your people in a situation to succeed, and sending Chris Sale out there for the 6th inning doesn't do that. And then what that did, that killed any momentum that they had built, that killed any confidence that Chris Sale had. Dead, done. Astros end up scoring a ton of runs, and now the series is probably over. I don't see Boston winning 2 games in Houston. I don't see it happening. I think Houston is going to go to the World Series. They will not be facing the Dodgers. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I think Houston is going to end up making it to the World Series. Just some other thoughts on this game. Again, comment below. Comment in the chat with your thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts. But Devers has a home run in the 7th inning, a meaningless home run, just 3 hits. Framber Valdez, 8 innings, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk, 3 hits allowed. Valdez was just great. Valdez was absolutely great. That is exactly what the Houston Astros needed. Saved their season, put them in the driver's seat to go to the World Series. Framber Valdez absolutely stepped up and was a beast last night. And he wasn't cheating. So you like what you got from Valdez. And then you've got, Friday, tomorrow. You've got Eovaldi. You got to think it's Garcia. Garcia pitches better at home than he does on the road. That's why you had him in Game 2. I got to think it's Garcia Game 2. He pitched well in his regular season start against the Sox. So I know Astros have not announced it. But I got to think it's going to be Luis Garcia, and you're set up for Urquidy if it goes 7. The Red Sox will have Eovaldi, and then they'll have Eddie Rodriguez if it goes to 7. So this will be fun. It's going to be fun to watch. But I do think that this game is all about the Astros at this point. The Red Sox. Let's see. They got 1 run last night. They scored 2 runs the night before. After the outburst, 12 runs on Monday, but 2 games, they score 3 runs. They got to do more. 5 hits in Game 4, 3 hits last night. They have to do. You got to do better. The bats are falling silent at the worst time for the Red Sox here. World Traveler, wish you had McCullers. Hey, if you had McCullers, obviously you'd feel better about the situation, but you're in a good spot right now. All right, Steve Mammon with the Tomahawk Chop. We are going to get to Braves and Dodgers here in just a minute. Chris, Astros aren't cheating. Red Sox are the ones using the flashlights. I saw that too. We talked about that earlier. No, not cheating. Chris, if you're just hopping in, we were talking about how the Red Sox radio broadcasters were talking about the Astros cheating. And, we're on board with they were not. There was just some salty Red Sox broadcasters not happy about the fact that the game was not going their way. All right, let's see. Hey, Dave, if the Sox were cheating, they need to be better cheaters, right? They're not doing a very good job at it with 8 hits in the last 18 innings and a combined 3 runs scored. All right, next up, it's the NLCS. And my question to you guys, is it over? Is this thing done? What did the Dodgers do? They needed Julio Urias to give them the game that Framber Valdez gave the Astros, and it did not happen. The Braves get 2 in the second, 2 in the third. It's 4-0 before the Dodgers finally score a run, and it just never looked good. I mean, I give the crowd credit until late. Every time it looked like something was building, the crowd really got into it. It was really loud there in the 5th inning. Bellinger at one point hit one really hard, but it just died at the wall, died on the track. There just wasn't it just didn't look good from the start. And in LA, at home, you just got to feel like you got to get more out of that. But is the NLCS over? Last year, the Braves had a 3-1 lead. Last year, it was this all over again. But last year, the Braves were rolling out Bryce Wilson and Kyle Wright and all that. This time, they're rolling out Max Fried, Ian Anderson, and Charlie Morton. That's how games 5, 6, and 7 would go. It's Max Fried tonight. We're going to dive into Max Fried in a moment. But is the NLCS over? Justin Turner gets hurt last night. Justin Turner... I saw the tweet about how he's done. The Dodgers will be without him for the rest of the postseason. But here's my question. or here's my comment to that. They've been without him all postseason anyway. What does he have? 5 hits this entire postseason? It might be a good thing to get Justin Turner out of there because he's been a hole in the middle of the lineup. But the problem is it's too late. Problem is it is too late. It is now 1-3. That collapse is not happening again. This team, these guys, there's too many guys on the team from last year. Obviously, we're carrying year over year. But these guys have that feeling that they blew it last year. They're not going to let it happen again. They're going to roll. The Dodgers are going to have a bullpen day today because they've got nobody to go, which is a problem. But I just don't see how this game, how they're going to get through this. I think this is it for the Dodgers. Amazing season. I listen. You know I'm a Blue Jay fan. I love the Dodgers. I like the Dodgers. I like the Braves. I like both teams. So I look at it like I'm winning both ways here. I'm okay with either team getting to the World Series. World Traveler with the Muncie comment, 100%. This is not a full Dodger team. This is why during the offseason, you can't just throw in the towel because, the Dodgers, and the Padres did everything that they did. And then at the trade deadline, you can't throw in the towel because you don't know how that team is going to look when they get to the postseason. No Clayton Kershaw, no Max Muncy. Max Scherzer talking about his dead arm, so he's not available for this game. This whole situation, the Dodgers they're not the team that they look like they were going to be at this time. They are hurt. They are exhausted. They're not hitting the ball with runners in scoring position. I mean, the problem is, World Traveler, it's definitely exposed with runners in scoring position, but just in general, they're having trouble hitting the ball. There's too many Dodger bats that have fallen silent or have not been consistent in this thing. So it is, it is what it is. And I want to also make a sort of comment to my comment about the Dodgers being hurt. So are the Braves. Dale with the comment about Ronald Acuna Jr. Acuna's out. Mike Soroka's out. The Marcell Ozuna situation is terrible. He's not on the team. The pieces that they put together that they thought were going to drive them to the World Series, a lot of that fell apart. They had to pivot. They did an incredible job of pivoting. Alex Anthopoulos is one of the best general managers in baseball. What he did at the trade deadline this past July 30th is going to be remembered for a long time in GM circles. It is going to be the blueprint. It is going to be what is taught at GM school. It is what you do. He restocked, found pieces that did not cost a ton. Rosario, Duvall, Soler have just led the way. And Duvall and Rosario last night were huge. Hats off to what the Braves have done with what they did at the trade deadline. I give them all the credit in the world because, like the Dodgers are hurt. Braves are hurt too, but they're getting through. Steve, can you imagine the Braves next year? They never give up the fight. The Braves, just thinking about next year, I mean, the Mets are making noise. They want to sign everybody and make their moves, and I understand that. But the Braves next year, the Phillies just seem to be stuck around 500, and I think unless they make any big moves, they'll be in that same spot next year. I think the Mets will be there. I mean, the Braves are set up to do very well for a while. Definitely. Jose, repeat of old school Billy Beane. What Alex Anthopoulos is just doing a great job. And again, I think that it's just a wonderful situation. He's great. I miss him. Old Blue Jays GM. Wish that he was still around. He sort of got run out, but he's doing a great job with Atlanta, and I'm happy for him. So, again, this is not looking good for LA anymore. Going to the bullpen. Let's do this. Let's dive into this Game 5. Let's see. Braves, VPIC. Hold on, let me move something around here. Something's not right. There we go. Here we go. Baseball Authority, welcome in. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Welcome. I'm glad to see you hop in here. All right, let's do this. Let's do this, guys. Let's get into the NLCS Game 5 preview to see, quite frankly, if there's absolutely any chance for the Dodgers to keep this thing going. Game 5 preview. Here's how it looks. So, we've got a bullpen day for the Dodgers. That's how this is going to start. Let's see. VP Collectibles. That's the deal. Those were the trades. Right. That's who they traded away. Right. And look at what they brought in. VP Collectibles highlighting the players that the Braves traded away to bring in what they got. And look how good. And they haven't even had the Bryce Wilson deal. That was for the reliever Rodriguez. Richard Rodriguez. Am I remembering the name right? And he's not there. He's hurt. So they don't even have one of the pieces that they traded for. All right. So Game 5. Dodgers are going to go with the bullpen. It's not as bad as you think, Dodger fans. They've got guys that can get it done. They're solid during the regular season. The bullpen group. Thank you, World Traveler. Appreciate the super chat. Thank you. I think the notification is going to pop up in a second. But thank you for the super chat, World Traveler. Appreciate that. And thank you for supporting the channel like you do. Let's look at this. The bullpen for the Dodgers. During the regular season, as a group, they had the second best ERA in the NL at 3.16, the best opposing batting average at 205, and they were second in WHIP, 1.19. So they were a great group during the bullpen, during the regular season. In the postseason, they have thrown the second most innings. That makes sense, right? They're one of the remaining teams. They've thrown the second most innings. There's of the 4 remaining, right? Second most, 46 total. And they have the second best ERA at 2.74. So they've been good. As a group, again, 2.74 is the ERA. Bickford, Jansen, Brule have not allowed runs in the postseason for the Dodgers. Gratterall, Kelly, Vesia have only allowed 1 run. And Blake Trinan has thrown the most innings out of the pen at 6 1/3 and has an ERA at 2.84. So it's not that bad for the Dodger fans. For the bullpen, for the situation, it's not like you go to a bullpen day and you're done. You're not going to have Julio Urias coming out of the bullpen, and that has been the case in many of these games, but it's not going to happen this time. But the guys that you have, if you're going with Bickford and Brule, Gratterall, Kelly, Vesia, Jansen, you get an inning, you get 2 innings out of those guys, you're in good shape. So it's not the end of the world for the Dodgers having a bullpen day. If you want to make this comeback, if you're going to climb out of this thing, step 1, get through this bullpen day. Step 2, you hope Max Scherzer's arm feels a lot better. All right. Braves are starting Max Fried. I understand I'm having a little connectivity issue, guys. It's not smooth right now, but I think you guys can probably still hear me, so I'm just going to roll through it. It should smooth out in a minute. I don't know why, but when the notifications pop up like that, it is I'm having some issues. We're going to fix that. Going to fix that. Let's go with Max Fried. It's a good situation for the Braves, obviously. He has been good in the playoffs. Back in Game 1. Now, he gave up a lot of hits. And Will Smith took him deep, but he limited the damage to just 2 runs despite giving up, I think it was 6 or 8 hits over his outing in Game 1. Pitched well in the DS against the Braves. In his career in the postseason, he's already up to 14 games in the postseason. 6 starts, a 1-1 record with a 3.21 ERA. During the regular season against the Dodgers, started 2 games against LA, 1-0, 2.25 ERA, 13 Ks in 12 innings. He is going to be on the road, and he does fine. Home, away, Max Fried, no big jumps in anything. 7 wins on at home, 7 on the road. 2.94 ERA at home, 3.14 on the road. WHIP is the same either way. So he not too bad. I'll say this. This is what I found when looking for Max Fried. If you're looking for holes in Max Fried, Braves fans, you're looking for, okay, what do we need to watch out for? Dodger fans, you're wondering, how do we get to him? It's high leverage situations. A high leverage situation is basically defined as the moments in the game where the win probability can shift dramatically in the other team's favor. Okay, we've all seen the win probability stuff, right, as the game goes on, certain situations, outs, runs, all that, okay? High leverage situations for Max Fried. When it's a high leverage spot, the batting average against, he's letting hitters hit 307 off of him in high leverage situations. What does that mean? That's runners on scoring position. That's a close game. That's all that, right? High leverage situation, batting average against is 307. Low leverage situation, when he can cruise, when it's 3-0 and there's nobody on and there's, one out, the batting average against is 200. So if he's able to cruise, it's hard to get to him. They got to get to him. They got to get to those high leverage situations. And where is one of them? It's in the first inning. 287 batting average against in the first inning on Max Fried. That's not good. 287 batting average allowed and an ERA of 4.82. After that, things can calm down, right? Things can calm down. Dave with the comment, CPU thermal throttling from rendering the animation. I think so. I got to change the animation. So let's see here. Okay. Good thought, Dave. You got me thinking on that. So the situation with Fried. Dodgers, if you want to find the weakness, get to him in the first inning. Braves fans, if you want to know, okay, what do we got to get? What's the hump we got to get over? Get through the first inning, get him a run or two, and if he can just cruise, he's good. He must keep his heart rate down or something. Stays in line and he's in good shape. That's what you got to watch for. How does LA win? Essentially, get to Max Fried early. Get to him in the first inning. Get a couple runs early. They got to jump on him. Get him feeling the pressure because when he's comfortable, he's just cruising. How does Atlanta win? Keep the momentum going. 5 of the hitters, half of the lineup, has either an OPS over 800 or a batting average over 300 in the playoffs. Jock Peterson, Austin Riley, Eddie Rosario, Freddie Freeman, and Adam Duvall. We're not even talking about Ozzie Albies. So Ozzie Albies has a breakout game, and he joins those guys. So more than half of the lineup, and remember, one of those guys is the pitcher. So there's really just 3 guys that aren't doing that well. Swanson's not doing that great. Darno isn't doing that great. Albies hasn't been to the level of the other players who are really performing well, but all it takes is one game for him. So the situation for Atlanta, just keep the momentum going, do their thing. Guys, comment in the chat. Let me know who's winning this game. Do the Dodgers push it one more game, or does Atlanta take care of this thing and it's done? Atlanta can clinch. This is a big one. You got to think they want to put them away. They don't want to have a repeat of last year when they blew the 3-1 lead. I'm actually going to look up last year's numbers because I can't remember who they started when it all started to fall apart last year. Let's pull that up. I want to look at who those starters were in games 5, 6, and 7 last year when they faltered and gave the series up to the Braves. I mean, I know they were starting Bryce Wilson and Kyle Wright and all that stuff because they didn't have Max Fried. It's one of the reasons why they went out and got Charlie Morton, because they needed to be in a better spot. Let's see. I'm looking at the wrong thing here. Again, you guys comment and let me know what you think. Who's winning this game? Who's winning this game? Jesse, it's done. Jose, Dodgers surprised everyone. Soul-saving crew. Dodgers will get it done today. Let's see. VP Collectibles. Fried goes 6 scoreless and Braves win 4-1. Let's see here. 2020 LCS. 4-3. Game 5. See, Game 4, the Braves started Bryce Wilson and got it done. Game 5. The Braves went with a bullpen day. AJ Minter started Game 5. That was the beginning of the Dodgers' comeback last year. Game 6, the Braves started Max. They did have Max. That's right. Max was available last year. I think it was Soroka who fell out. And then game 7, when the Dodgers got it 4-3, the Braves started Ian Anderson, and Ian Anderson struggled. So, all right, I take that back. Bryce Wilson got the win in game 4. Kyle Wright took an L in game 3. Wilson and Wright were not involved in games 5, 6, and 7. So that's some hope for you, Dodger fans. You took out the Braves on a bullpen day, and then you beat Max Fried and Ian Anderson last year. So we will see how that goes. Dale Thomas, I think the timely hitter has been key for the Braves, no doubt about it. And they got one of the best timely hitters in baseball with Jock Peterson on that team. Eduardo, do you think the Braves stealing bases, being aggressive, has had an effect on the Dodgers? I can't remember a more aggressive team with stolen bases. No doubt about it. You get a guy on first, and you're worried about them running. You're worried about them going from first to third. No doubt about it. I also think a big component. We're about a week away from it now, but the Dodgers came into this. I still think the Giants are haunting. The Giants are haunting the Dodgers from the grave. That series, having to go up against the team with the best record in baseball, I think there is a little bit of fatigue from that. The pitching came in fatigued. The way Roberts managed the pitching in the DS was almost as if that was the championship. It was almost as if he needed to, it was more important to beat the Giants than it was to advance to the next round. So, and go to the World Series, because the pitching is just exhausted. Again, yes, I love everybody that is here. World Traveler calling it out. Fans from every team in here, so I'm glad that you guys are here. Dodgers, Braves, Astros fans. Make sure to subscribe. If you're just finding the channel for the first time today, make sure to subscribe. Live content now coming at you every day this week. Moving forward, this is sort of a target time, 11 o'clock. Plan is next week to be on live during the middle of the day as well, 11 o'clock. And I think eventually we're going to get those evening streams back too. We were doing a lot in the evening last year. We'll eventually roll some of these 11 o'clock streams to an evening time. So again, I appreciate everybody that's in here. And I have no bias either way. I'm a Toronto Blue Jays fan. My dog is out of the race. They're not in it. I'm just enjoying the baseball. Let's see. Luke, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Thank you for the sub. This should give me an alert that there are subs, but we're having all sorts of issues with those alerts, with the rendering of the graphics for some of the stuff, and then the alerts on the subs. I don't understand what's going on, but I do appreciate the sub. Big Island Bum, who do you see as the next Padres manager? They need to get somebody with experience. I think they're waiting for these games to wind down, so I think you could probably see somebody from the Dodgers or somebody from these 4 teams moving over and being a manager. I think there's been talk about Ron Washington could be a fit. I think he's with Atlanta, right? Ron Washington has experience in the postseason and in the World Series. Took the Rangers to the World Series. They need somebody with experience. It can't be somebody who they're going to have to cycle out in a year or two. I don't like the Mike Schilt thing. I don't think Mike Schilt is the guy. There's moments that managers have that make me think, oh, he just doesn't get it. I mean, we have that with everybody, right? Somebody says something, I say something, and you may judge me as like, oh, he doesn't get it. People have moments like that. Mike Schilt's moment for me happened this year, and it was Nick Castellanos' home run, and he goes out there and he wants him to check the bat because there's a chip in the bat. I'm like, why are you focused on that? Why are you worried about that? With Jace Tingler, the moment for me was when he criticized Tatis for hitting the grand slam. Tatis is your once-in-a-generation player. You know, when people think of the Padres, they think of Tony Gwynn, and if Fernando Tatis Jr. stays there long enough, Fernando Tatis. And you're going to criticize him. Fernando, stop it. So there are moments that managers have that make me question if they have it. And that translates to how they perform as a manager, how they control the clubhouse. Tingler could not control the clubhouse. The whole Machado had to step up and try to get Tatis's head on straight. So I don't want Mike Schilt moving in there because I don't think he's got it either. I think it needs to be somebody with experience. You can't be a brand new manager. Can't be somebody who's too old either, because you don't want to find yourself in a situation like the White Sox. Listen, the La Russa thing is fun, and if it turns into a World Series, then great. But if it doesn't, there's a tight window that you have with Tony La Russa, and then he's gone. You're going to be looking for another manager, and you don't know how that's going to work out. So I think you need somebody that's young. Let's see. So that's my whole, long-winded rant on the Padres manager. Let's see. Timmy Two Shoes, 16 weeks. Jays pitchers catchers should have reported working out. Hey man, for my Jays, for our Jays, yes, cannot wait for that to come back and for them to be back up, running, playing baseball. I am excited to see who's on the roster at that point. Who's coming to spring training. I'm excited to see what they can do with some increased payroll. Soul Saving Crew has the Dodgers in 7. They did it last year. They could do it again. I think it's going to be a tall uphill climb. Max Scherzer's arm is dead. They just fired the Urias bullet. Buehler is going to have to start on short rest. I'm trying to think of the days. I think if he goes in Game 6, he's still starting on short rest, which could be tough. The Dodgers are in a tough spot. Let's see. Soy de Cuba. I would love to see Astros Dodgers World Series. Listen, from a content perspective, from somebody who is, watching baseball and trying to create content in videos based on baseball, obviously Dodgers and Astros is a content creator's dream. But I also want the best teams in there, and if the Braves and the Astros are the best teams, I think that is going to be a great World Series. If it is Astros and Braves, I'm happy with that. I think there's some good content that we can create from that as well. If Dodgers win, it goes back to Atlanta, right? And it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to win this game against Max. It's going to be tough to take 2. I mean, they just don't have any momentum, right? There's no momentum. The game the only game they've won in this series, really they got extremely lucky with that Bellinger home run. I know we still have the Game 5 preview thing. I want to know what you guys think. So I'm going to put that up there right now. So you guys keep it coming. Let's just talk. I want to hear all of your thoughts. The situation with Bellinger, I heard it that on high fastballs this year he was the 8th worst at making contact and hitting that ball, and he hit that for a home run. And if you take that play out of this series, they were swept. If you take that Bellinger home run out of the series, it was a sweep. There's no motivation. There's not motivation, but there's no momentum. There's no life in that lineup without Muncy, with both Turner struggling like they had. It just wasn't. It wasn't there. It was not there. Let's see here. Let me get to you guys again. It would be bittersweet for them to come back to Atlanta. However, you don't want Steve. You don't want it to come back to Atlanta. Let the next game in Atlanta be in the World Series. Edward, biggest disappointment in either championship series. The biggest disappointment? There's been so many. Justin Turner's been a big disappointment. Just the performance of the lineup. Dave Roberts managing of the Dodgers pitching, in my opinion, has been a big disappointment. There's been a lot on both sides. Astros fans or Red Sox fans would tell you Laz Diaz behind home plate the other day. Soy de Cuba, I think the Padres have great players, but they are not humble, so they learned a lesson this year. They hopefully do, right? You gotta learn and you gotta move on. You gotta learn from it and you gotta be better. Braves Nation is sneaky big. I hear you. Braves Nation is definitely out there. No doubt about it. I mean, for the longest time, the Braves were the best team in the National League East, just winning the National League East for like 20 straight years. No doubt about it. They built up a huge fan base with that, and it's sort of back. Let's see, Jose. If the homer didn't hurt, right? Exactly. We're talking about the Dodgers getting swept. The Kingley way, is that how you pronounce that? Atlanta Braves need to wrap it up against the Dodgers bullpen tonight because it can be... Yeah, exactly. You don't want to go back. You do not want to go back to Atlanta. Don't give them hope. If the Dodgers win tonight, you give them hope. And then they can go in. You try to line up Scherzer and Buehler and hope they can be effective. And if they can be effective, it's trouble. You want to get it done tonight if you're Braves. Let's see. If you take Cody's home run away, you have to replace with something. Didn't the next two batters get hits? It's a good point. That's a good point. Listen, just like we were talking about with the Astros and Schwarber and him dropping the ball and what happens next. It's hard to say that something else wouldn't have happened next, but that was an uplifting moment that carried them. And I mean, without that, who knows? If Cody Bellinger strikes out there, momentum could be deflated at that point. We don't know. We don't know. Good, but it's true. It's not fair to just completely wipe that moment clean and anticipate nothing else happening. If they go 7, I think Dodgers win it. Braves can't let a Game 7 happen. World Traveler, good point. I'm with you. I think that if this goes 7, Braves, that's not what you want. Let's see. Who are you going between Braves and Astros? If I had to pick one, I would probably pick the Braves based on the pitching. I think the pitching is just in their favor. The Astros has faltered. No McCullers. You can't trust Greinke, so you're trying to count on a bunch of guys, relatively younger guys. I know Urquidy's pitched in the World Series before. You got Valdez. You got Garcia. Garcia's a rookie. Valdez did pitch in the playoffs last year a little bit, but I would trust the experience of Morton and Frieden, and Anderson got some big playoff innings in him last year and this year too. So I would probably lean Braves, but that Braves and Astros feels like a 7-game series. Tater, if I could subscribe 2 times, I would, just because of what you said at the beginning, not making us wait 20 minutes to get to. I'm with you. I've been there, man. You see the thumbnail and you're like, oh man, where is it? I want to see that. And you're like, where did it happen? And you start toggling around trying to find it. I'm with you. That's why I'm with you. Steve re-signed Dale Murphy. Can he still play? Dale Murphy's still with us, right? World Traveler, I think they need to win tonight at most. Game 6, Braves can't. Right, exactly. They can't get to Game 7. We talked about that. They just can't get to Game 7. Aaron, not sure if I want big spenders to win or if I want smaller payrolls to win. Hashtag Go Jays. Right on. Aaron, thank you. The fascinating thing about this is, again, if the Braves win the World Series after what Anthopoulos did at the trade deadline, just if you guys like the trade deadline, if you like trades, that's big, because other GMs are going to do that. You will see a flurry of activity from other teams if what Anthopoulos did paves the way to a World Series championship. No doubt about it. That will be a big turning point potentially in the way GMs think. It's like, okay, our season looks like it's falling apart. Let's just pack it in. No, our season it looks like it's falling apart. I think we just need a couple more pieces. Let's go get them and then some. That's what they did, and I think they could do that. Let's get the like count up. We are at 21 likes. Hit that like. Let's get this thing up there. I love to get to 50 if possible. If you haven't hit the like yet, please do that. I appreciate that. If you can hit that like, let's get us up as close to 50 as we can, if that is at all possible. I think we are at 24 right now. We need one more for 25. Get us at least halfway there. Let's see. Jose. I'm pretty sure McCullers is out for the year. At least that's what I think I've seen McCullers is done for the year. All right. Jose, Morton got lit up last year in the World Series. He did. And that is where I think he was able to sort of settle in and do better this time. And he's got them, just like the Braves have the motivation of losing that 3-1 lead. Morton has the motivation of, these guys got to me in the World Series. Dodgers, I'm not going to let it happen again. I'm sure Charlie Morton would love another chance in the World Series. Especially against his old team, right? Against the Astros. Didn't Charlie Morton pitch for the Astros? Am I totally spacing out on that? I feel like Morton pitched for the Astros. Hold on. I got to fact check myself. Pretty sure he did. Yeah. Houston, 17 and 18. So, pitched well in 17 and 18. So he'll be going up against his old team. Great narrative there. Dale, you've got Fried 7 shutout innings tonight. Riley goes deep. All right. Guys, we are 1 like away from 30. Is there one person in there that has not used that like yet? We can get that thing to 30. I like round numbers. VP Collectibles, Alex Anthopoulos, he's got to win Executive of the Year if this goes down. No doubt about it. 100% I agree with you on that one. Let's see. World Traveler, that's going to be rough for them. Advanced to World Series. McCullers will not be available. I don't think. Yeah, no McCullers in the World Series is definitely an issue. Definitely a big issue there. '17 and '18. Yeah, he was on that illustrious Astros team. The Astros bullpen has been up and down. A little bit up and down, I would say, World Traveler. I think there have definitely been, they've been better lately. But they were struggling earlier in the year. When heading into the trade deadline, that bullpen had blown the most saves of every playoff caliber team. Luis, is Julio Urias spent because of the season workload or higher leverage postseason usage? I don't know if he's spent or if it was just a bad game. You know, they were talking about it in the broadcast. It looked like his fastball was flat. He gave up the home runs. You certainly would have liked something better from Julio Urias last night. It didn't happen. Yeah, you could say, being thrown back and forth, the bullpen is starting, the whole thing, it hasn't really worked out. And that could definitely have worked on it. If he knew coming into this thing, okay, I'm pitching in Game 4 and I'm pitching in Game 7, that could have been something else. There's definitely something there. I mean, Urias got roughed up in his inning of relief and did not give you the game last night that you would hope that he would give you. Let's see, McCullers and Morton pitched Game 7. 2000 only allowed 1 run in LA. Let's see. Yeah, postseason they have been better. For sure. Want to remind everybody, this 11 o'clock thing, we'll be back tomorrow, Friday. We'll be back doing the 11 o'clock stream again, reacting to what happens in Game 5, the narratives, what happens, and taking a look ahead at Game 6 for Houston. So make sure you guys subscribe, stay close to the channel, and make sure to come on back tomorrow. Friday, last 11 o'clock stream of the week. And then we head into the weekend, and we'll see what we can do over the weekend. But make sure if you're enjoying this, you like the middle of the day thing, make sure to come back, please. And I enjoy getting your thoughts as well. I like seeing what you guys have to say, and I appreciate the good-naturedness between, again, the different fans, Astros fans, Dodger fans, Red Sox fans. Adrian, Verlander goes back to Detroit to reunite with Hinch to end his career. Could. I think wherever Verlander goes, it's a one-year deal. But I think Verlander's going to want a chance to win the World Series. Detroit is definitely taking steps forward, but I don't think they're there yet. We are at 12 o'clock. So here's the deal. Or it's almost 12 o'clock. And I got to run upstairs because I just heard somebody get home that I got to go check on. So thank you, everybody, for hopping in. A great stream today. You guys came in strong. I love hearing your thoughts. Again, tomorrow we'll be back, 11 in the East, 8 in the West, to talk about what happens in tonight's Game 5. Come on back because I want you guys to let me know what you think about what happens tonight. I want to hear your thoughts. So make sure you come back tomorrow and tell me what you think about how this game plays out. Patrick, what are the Astros fans being accused of? We'll just throw it up real quick. There was talk that Valdez was accused of cheating because the broadcast, the Red Sox broadcast, felt that he was going to his brow or temple too much. That every time he got a new ball, he was touching his temple. But he was sweating. You can combine sweat and rosin. It is a perfectly fine thing. It is not illegal. So that was the situation with the Astros. We'll sort of end the video on that. We started the video with that, and we end the video on that. Thank you guys again for being here. I hope to see you tomorrow. We'll talk about what happens in Game 5, and we can look forward to Game 6, see if the Astros are going to close it out or not. Make sure to hit that like if you haven't on the way out. Subscribe if you are new. Make sure to come back, set the alert so you can come on back when you know I'm live, because I will go live outside of 11 o'clock. A lot of times going live is warranted later on. Good luck to everybody world traveling. Yes, good luck to everybody who's got a team still in it. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. And we will catch you at the very latest tomorrow again, 11 in the East, 8 in the West. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the game tonight, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care.